Have you ever wondered why, despite our best efforts, we sometimes feel stuck or disconnected from the person we want to be? Why is it that we often feel like we're chasing something, but it slips away every time? What if the path to the best version of yourself isn't out there somewhere, but within you all along? Take, for example, a busy day in your life. You wake up, rush through your routine, and go through the motions. But do you ever stop to ask yourself, what is truly driving me today? What part of me do I want to improve? It's easy to overlook these simple questions in the chaos of life, but understanding the answers could unlock the next step toward becoming your best self. Welcome to Wisdom Woven, where we explore powerful insights to help you discover your truest potential. Here, we'll take you on a journey to learn how to rise above daily challenges and find lasting peace within yourself. There are so many views on this channel, but only 0.2% of people subscribe. So please, take a moment to like, comment, share, and subscribe to our channel. It helps us bring you more meaningful content and transform your life in ways you've never imagined. In today's world, we are constantly bombarded by external expectations, career goals, social pressures, and a never-ending to-do list. But what if you could silence the noise and focus on what really matters? The path to being your best self doesn't require complicated rituals or faraway destinations. Instead, it's about starting with small changes that can lead to big shifts in your life. Stay with us through this video, and we will show you how Buddhism's timeless teachings can guide you in making these changes. Together, we'll embark on this life-changing journey to awaken your true potential. Understanding the self through mindfulness. The path to becoming the best version of yourself begins with understanding who you are. But to understand who we truly are, we must first learn to pay attention. This is where mindfulness comes in. Mindfulness is the practice of being present, of fully experiencing each moment without distraction, without judgment. It's about learning to see things as they are, without the filters that our busy minds often apply. In Buddhism, mindfulness is considered the foundation of wisdom, and it is the key to unlocking the door to your best self. Imagine you are sitting by a calm river, watching the water flow gently. At first, your mind is filled with thoughts about work, about life, about everything else. But if you allow yourself to simply sit, to just watch the water without trying to control it or change it, something shifts. The more you focus on the present moment, the more you realize that your thoughts are like the river's current. They come and go. They are not you. This is the power of mindfulness. It teaches us that our thoughts are not permanent. They are like clouds drifting through the sky. They come and they go. And just as the river flows with ease, we can learn to let our thoughts flow without becoming attached to them. This is the essence of understanding the self. Realizing that you are not defined by your thoughts, your emotions, or your circumstances. You are the observer, the one who witnesses it all. The more you practice mindfulness, the clearer this truth becomes. Mindfulness also allows you to see your reactions, your habits, and your patterns. It shows you how you respond to situations, how your mind jumps to conclusions, how your emotions take hold of you. With mindfulness, you can begin to notice these patterns and, more importantly, start to change them. Every time you notice a reaction, whether it's anger, frustration, or fear, you have the opportunity to pause and choose a different path. This is the power of awareness. Now, let's think about how mindfulness affects our daily life. How often do we rush through tasks without really being present? How many times do we eat a meal while distracted by our phones or a television screen? Or maybe we engage in conversations while our minds are somewhere else, planning the next thing we need to do. This is the nature of modern life, isn't it? We are often caught up in a whirlwind of tasks, thoughts, and expectations. But mindfulness asks us to slow down. It asks us to pay attention to the smallest of details. When you are mindful, eating becomes a full experience. You notice the texture of the food, the flavor, the smell. You pay attention to how your body feels as you eat, how it reacts to different foods. Similarly, when you are mindful in your interactions with others, you become fully present with them. You listen with intention, without thinking of what you'll say next or how you'll respond. You simply listen. This kind of attention to the present moment is transformative. It helps you understand the world around you and your place in it more clearly. Through mindfulness, you also begin to understand the impermanence of life. Buddhism teaches that everything is temporary. Our thoughts, our feelings, our circumstances, they all change. By becoming mindful, you can observe the constant ebb and flow of life without being swept away by it. You begin to understand that you do not need to hold on to anything too tightly, for it will pass. The good moments, the bad moments, they are both fleeting. And in this understanding, you find peace. In every moment, mindfulness is an invitation to return to yourself. It is an invitation to reconnect with the present, to come back to what is real, to what is true. When you are mindful, you are not lost in the past or the future. You are right here, right now. And this, dear one, is where you will find your true self. But mindfulness doesn't happen overnight. It is a practice, one that requires patience and consistency. It's like learning to play an instrument or practicing a sport. At first, it may feel awkward or challenging. Your mind will wander. You will lose focus. But with time, it gets easier. You learn to catch yourself when your mind drifts. You learn to return to the breath, to the present moment, again and again. And each time you do, you are cultivating the path to your best self. So, how can you start practicing mindfulness today? It doesn't require a special place or a certain amount of time. It begins with simple awareness. The next time you are doing something, whether it's eating, walking, or even washing the dishes, try to be fully present. Focus on the sensations in your body. Notice the details around you. Listen to the sounds you hear. Feel the textures you touch. These small moments of attention, when practiced regularly, will begin to shift your experience of the world. Mindfulness also teaches us to be kind to ourselves. Often, we are our own harshest critics. We judge ourselves for our mistakes, for not being perfect, for not living up to our expectations. But mindfulness asks us to notice those self-critical thoughts without attaching to them. It encourages us to see ourselves with compassion, to treat ourselves with the same kindness we offer to others. When you learn to be gentle with yourself, you open the door to growth. You create the space needed for change to happen. One of the most important aspects of mindfulness is that it brings us into alignment with our deeper values. When we are caught in the rush of life, it's easy to lose sight of what really matters. We can get distracted by external goals, by what society tells us we should want. But through mindfulness, we reconnect with our true desires, the ones that come from the heart. We begin to see what brings us joy, peace, and fulfillment. And this awareness helps us make better choices, choices that lead us toward our best self. In Buddhism, mindfulness is often practiced alongside meditation. Meditation allows you to dive even deeper into the present moment. It's a way to clear the mind and connect with the stillness within. But even if you don't meditate regularly, mindfulness can still have a profound impact on your life. It's about cultivating awareness in each moment, whether you're sitting in meditation or simply walking down the street. The beauty of mindfulness is that it is always available to you. It doesn't require special conditions. You don't need to wait for the perfect time or the right environment. The present moment is always here, ready to be experienced. And each time you choose to be mindful, you are choosing to become the best version of yourself. So, as you move through your day, remember this simple truth. Mindfulness is not something you need to seek outside yourself. It is a tool that lies within you, waiting to be rediscovered. And as you practice it, you will begin to see the world in a new light. You will understand yourself better, and through that understanding, you will start to realize the path that leads to your best self. With each mindful step, you are walking the path of wisdom. You are becoming more attuned to your inner nature, more aligned with your true purpose. And this, dear one, is the beginning of your journey toward becoming the best version of yourself. Letting go of attachments. The path to becoming your best self is often blocked by one thing: attachment. Attachment, in its simplest form, is the act of holding on to things, people, desires, ideas, even emotions that no longer serve us. But when you hold on too tightly, you create suffering for yourself. It's like holding on to a burning coal, thinking it will bring you warmth, only to realize you are the one getting burned. We live in a world full of distractions, and it's easy to get attached to things that seem important. Think about the clothes you wear, the job you have, or even the way others perceive you. We place so much value on these external things, believing they define who we are. But in reality, they do not. The more we cling to these fleeting things, the further we move away from our true self. Buddhism teaches us that attachment is one of the root causes of suffering. The Buddha, in his profound wisdom, showed us that nothing is permanent. Everything is changing all the time. This includes not only physical things, but also our thoughts, our feelings, and our experiences. When we become attached to something, we forget that it is temporary, that it will change, and that we cannot hold on to it forever. We must learn to let go, not out of indifference, but out of wisdom. Take a moment to think about something you are attached to in your life. Perhaps it's a relationship, an object, or even an expectation of yourself. Ask yourself, what happens if I let go of this attachment? At first, the idea may seem frightening. We fear that without these things, we will lose our identity, our sense of security. But the truth is, the more we cling, the more we bind ourselves to suffering. Letting go doesn't mean losing what is valuable. It means freeing yourself from the burden of attachment and allowing room for new, healthier experiences to come into your life. When we release attachments, we open ourselves to the flow of life. Without rigid expectations or fears of loss, we can approach every moment with a sense of openness and curiosity. Think of a leaf floating on a stream. It doesn't fight the current. It doesn't cling to anything. It simply allows itself to be carried forward, trusting that it is exactly where it needs to be. We can learn to do the same. One of the most powerful ways to begin letting go is through mindfulness. By being fully present in each moment, we learn to see things as they are, not as we wish them to be. This helps us realize that attachment arises from our own desires and fears. When we practice mindfulness, we can observe these feelings without judgment and let them pass, like clouds drifting in the sky. Instead of holding on, we simply watch as they come and go. Another important aspect of letting go is understanding that all things are interconnected. We may think that our attachments to people or things define us, but in reality, everything in life is in constant motion. We are not isolated beings. We are part of a larger web of existence. Our attachments are just one thread in this vast, interconnected tapestry. When we cling to one thread too tightly, we lose sight of the bigger picture. By letting go, we allow ourselves to see how everything is connected and how we are part of something much larger than ourselves. A simple practice to start letting go is to examine your attachments daily. Ask yourself, what am I holding on to today? Why? How does it make me feel? You might realize that some of your attachments are causing you stress, fear, or frustration. Letting go doesn't mean you have to abandon everything you care about. It simply means learning not to depend on them for your happiness or identity. The more we learn to detach from unhealthy attachments, the more we grow into our true selves. It's also important to recognize that letting go is not a one-time act. It's a continuous process. There will always be new attachments that arise, and there will be moments when we find ourselves clinging again. But with each step, we get closer to freedom. With each letting go, we make room for something better, something more aligned with who we truly are. Letting go of attachments doesn't mean we stop caring about others or stop enjoying life's pleasures. Instead, it means we let go of the need to control or possess them. We allow ourselves to experience life with openness without being weighed down by fear or desire. We learn to appreciate the present moment as it is, without being attached to a particular outcome. When you start to let go, you will notice a shift. You may feel lighter, freer, and more at peace. The world may not seem so overwhelming. You may begin to see beauty in things you never noticed before. This is the natural result of releasing your attachments. Your true self begins to shine through. It's also important to remember that letting go isn't always easy. We are creatures of habit, and our attachments often feel comfortable, even if they cause us harm. But in Buddhism, there is a concept called impermanence. Everything changes. Nothing stays the same forever, including our attachments. What may feel like a secure anchor in your life may, in fact, be an illusion. The more we resist change, the more we prolong our suffering. Letting go is a way of embracing change and welcoming the flow of life. As you let go, be kind to yourself. There's no need for self-criticism or judgment. Understand that letting go is a practice, a journey, and there will be times when you struggle. But with patience and persistence, you will find yourself gradually loosening the grip of attachment. The more you practice, the easier it becomes to release what no longer serves you. In the end, letting go is about reclaiming your power. It's about recognizing that you are not defined by what you have, what you do, or how others see you. You are much more than that. You are a part of the ever-changing flow of life, and by letting go of attachments, you align yourself with that flow. This is the true path to becoming your best self, a path of freedom, peace, and self-awareness. The more you let go, the more space you create for growth. You begin to see the world with fresh eyes. You start to appreciate the simple things, the small moments, the quiet spaces between thoughts. Letting go allows you to see yourself and the world more clearly. It helps you realize that true happiness doesn't come from external possessions, but from within. Let go of the things that bind you and discover the true, limitless potential that lies within you. The power of compassion and kindness. In the quiet moments of life, when you step back and observe, do you ever wonder about the true power of kindness? Why is it that a simple smile can change the energy in a room? Or how a small act of compassion can brighten someone's entire day? The essence of kindness and compassion is like a seed planted deep within us. But unlike other seeds, it doesn't grow through effort or control. It grows by simply being allowed to be. Compassion begins with the simple recognition that we, like others, face struggles. We are not islands in a vast ocean of life, but part of an interconnected web. Understanding this is key to transforming our hearts and minds. When you open your heart to the suffering of others, you begin to dissolve the walls that separate you from the world. This is the first step toward real change, the deep realization that kindness isn't just something we do. It is something we are. But often, we find ourselves caught in a cycle where our attention is focused inward, on our own concerns and frustrations. In such moments, we forget the simple truth. We are all equally vulnerable to suffering. Just as the rain nurtures all plants, compassion nourishes all beings. It isn't about grand gestures but small acts, like offering a helping hand when needed or simply listening with full attention when someone speaks. Think about a time when you were struggling, perhaps feeling misunderstood or alone. Now, imagine if someone had reached out to you, not with advice or solutions, but with true understanding, simply offering their presence. How did that make you feel? That is the power of compassion. It is the ability to be present with another's suffering without judgment or desire to fix it, but to simply share in it. It is a sacred exchange where two hearts meet, and in that meeting, something larger than both begins to emerge. In Buddhism, compassion is not just an emotional response but a skill to be developed. It is the ability to respond to suffering without getting lost in it. This is what distinguishes compassion from sympathy. Sympathy feels the pain and joins in it. Compassion, on the other hand, sees the pain but does not lose itself in it. Compassion brings clarity and calmness in the midst of turmoil. This is a subtle but powerful shift. Instead of being dragged down by the weight of suffering, you become a source of light that lifts both yourself and others. This doesn't mean that we ignore our own struggles. On the contrary, compassion towards ourselves is just as important. It means accepting our own flaws, mistakes, and shortcomings with kindness. It means acknowledging that we are all works in progress. When we are compassionate with ourselves, we learn to be more compassionate toward others. We can't give what we don't have, and we can't offer true kindness to others unless we've first cultivated it within ourselves. Every time you act with compassion, whether through a simple smile or by listening to someone who needs to be heard, you are planting a seed. With each seed, you create a ripple effect that spreads far beyond you. One compassionate act can touch the lives of many. Imagine how the world would look if each of us made it a habit to practice kindness, not just when it is convenient, but at all times. The more we practice compassion, the more it becomes a part of who we are, and the more it shapes the world around us. The Buddha taught that the heart of compassion is born from the recognition of interconnectedness. We are all part of a vast, intricate web of life. What affects one, affects all. This understanding helps us to see that every act of kindness, no matter how small, has a ripple effect. It is like a stone dropped into a pond. The ripples spread far and wide, touching places we may never even see. The simple act of showing up for someone in their moment of need, might be the very thing that helps them find hope again. When you understand that all beings suffer, you begin to see that the boundaries we draw between us and them are illusions. In truth, we are all walking the same path, navigating the same struggles, and hoping for the same peace. Compassion is not just an act. It is a way of seeing the world. It is the lens through which you begin to perceive life as a shared experience. With this lens, you no longer see strangers, only fellow travelers. You no longer see differences, only shared humanity. Think of compassion as a fire. It starts small, just a flicker of warmth, but when you nurture it, it can grow to light up the entire world. Compassion doesn't burn brightly in every moment, but every time we return to it, it grows stronger. It's a flame that, when cared for, will never go out. In the practice of compassion, there is no finish line, no end. It is a lifelong journey. The more you cultivate it, the more natural it becomes, and the more it begins to shape your life in profound ways. Compassion is not just about how you treat others, but also about how you treat yourself. We often expect more from ourselves than we would ever ask from others. We can be our own harshest critics, quick to judge and slow to forgive. But to truly embody compassion, we must begin by offering it to ourselves. We must learn to forgive our own mistakes, to accept our flaws, and to recognize that we are deserving of the same love and care we so willingly offer to others. When you practice compassion, you begin to notice the beauty in simple moments. You notice the quiet kindness in the world, the soft smile of a stranger, the comforting words of a friend, the gentle embrace of nature. These small acts of kindness are everywhere, waiting for you to recognize them. By practicing compassion, you become attuned to the goodness that already exists around you. The world becomes a more beautiful place when you start to see it through the eyes of kindness. Ultimately, the power of compassion is not about achieving a particular goal or reaching a specific destination. It's about the ongoing process of cultivating a loving, kind heart. It's about learning to be with others without judgment, to offer kindness without expectation, and to bring light into the darkness of the world. Every time you practice compassion, you move closer to the best version of yourself. In the end, compassion is a transformative force, not just for others, but for you. When you live with an open heart, free from anger, resentment, and judgment, you create space for your own healing. You begin to understand that the path to becoming your best self is not about striving to be perfect, but about learning to love yourself and others deeply, without condition. Compassion is the key that unlocks the door to your highest potential. It is the practice that leads you to peace, to joy, and to the very heart of who you are meant to be. Balancing desires and contentment. In the quiet of a simple moment, we find truth. Desires are endless, aren't they? We desire more comfort, more success, more recognition. But the more we chase them, the further they seem to slip away. In our constant yearning, we forget to ask, what if contentment is not about having more, but about appreciating what we already have? Imagine a river. It flows gently, carrying water from one place to another. It doesn't rush, nor does it struggle. The water simply follows its path, embracing each moment as it comes. When we think of desires, we often picture ourselves as that rushing river, constantly pushing forward, always seeking more. But what if we could slow down, like the river, and appreciate each drop that flows by? The teachings of Buddhism invite us to consider this. Desire, in itself, is not the problem. It is the attachment to desire that leads us into suffering. When we fixate on something we lack, we create a feeling of incompleteness. We begin to think that happiness is always somewhere ahead of us, just out of reach. But happiness, true contentment, is found in the present moment, in accepting things as they are. Let's look at a simple example. Think about a tree standing in the middle of a field. It doesn't wish it had taller branches or more leaves. It doesn't compare itself to other trees. It simply stands, rooted in the earth, growing at its own pace. It's not trying to become something it's not. It doesn't chase after anything. And in doing so, it is complete. Why is it that we, too, cannot be like that tree? Why do we feel the need to constantly chase more? The answer lies in the way we view the world. We have been conditioned to believe that more is better, that success, wealth, status, and possessions are the keys to happiness. But these things, while useful in certain contexts, can never bring lasting peace. They are like leaves on a tree that wither and fall away. True contentment comes not from acquiring more, but from embracing what we already have. Buddhism teaches us the concept of the middle way. This is the path between extremes, the balance between indulgence and denial. When we become too attached to our desires, we fall into excess. But when we suppress our desires too much, we create a life of scarcity. The middle way is about finding harmony between the two. It's about enjoying the fruits of life without becoming attached to them. It's about savoring each moment without desperately grasping for more. To achieve this balance, we must first recognize that our desires are not inherently bad. Desires are a natural part of being human. They drive us to work, to create, to love. But when we allow our desires to define our happiness, we fall into a cycle of dissatisfaction. We achieve one goal, only to immediately crave the next. This constant cycle is exhausting, and it keeps us from enjoying the present moment. The practice of mindfulness is key in helping us find this balance. Mindfulness teaches us to observe our thoughts and feelings without judgment. It encourages us to be aware of our desires, but not controlled by them. When a desire arises, instead of reacting immediately, we can pause. We can take a breath and observe it without attachment. Do I need this right now? Will this bring me lasting happiness, or is it just a fleeting wish? These are the questions we can ask ourselves in each moment. But balancing desires and contentment is not something that happens overnight. It is a practice that requires patience, awareness, and compassion for oneself. When a desire arises, it is not wrong to feel it. But we must remember that it is just that, a feeling. It is not who we are. We are not our desires. And we are certainly not defined by what we do or do not have. Imagine walking in a forest. The trees stand tall and still, each one different yet all part of the same whole. You can't help but admire the beauty of the forest as a whole, not because of any one tree, but because of the harmony they create together. Similarly, when we stop chasing after individual desires and start embracing the beauty of the present moment, we begin to experience life in its full richness. The desire to have more slowly fades, replaced by the contentment of simply being. Buddha himself shared this insight when he said, "Desire is the root of all suffering." But he did not mean that we should stop desiring altogether. Instead, he taught us to let go of our attachment to desire, to realize that happiness does not come from the things we acquire, but from the peace we cultivate within ourselves. When we release our attachment to desires, we open ourselves to a deeper sense of contentment that doesn't depend on external circumstances. Now, think about this. When was the last time you were truly content? Not because you had something you wanted, but simply because you accepted life as it is? When you can find peace in the present moment, you will realize that you have always had everything you need. The desires you once chased will no longer seem as important. You will understand that true happiness is not in the things you accumulate, but in the way you live your life, in the way you see the world. The path to balancing desires and contentment is not about rejecting your desires, but about changing the way you relate to them. It's about understanding that you can desire things without allowing those desires to control you. It's about choosing to live in harmony with yourself and the world around you. When you find this balance, you will experience a deep, lasting sense of peace that no external circumstance can take away. Remember, like the tree standing tall in the field, you do not need to compare yourself to others. You do not need to constantly chase after more. You can simply be, and in that being, you will discover the contentment that you have been seeking all along. Mastering the art of discipline. Discipline, in the truest sense, is not about rigid control or harsh punishment. It is about consistency, focus, and the ability to follow through on your intentions. To master discipline is to live with purpose, not through force but through understanding and choice. It's about aligning your actions with your deepest values, moment by moment. Imagine, for a moment, a river flowing steadily toward the ocean. The river does not hesitate, does not stray. It knows its course, and no obstacle is strong enough to stop it. In the same way, when we are disciplined, we move through life with the same steady flow, overcoming distractions and obstacles with patience and persistence. The discipline of the river comes from its deep connection with the earth, just as our discipline comes from being deeply connected to our inner purpose. At first, the idea of discipline may feel burdensome. It may seem like a chore or a restriction, something that holds us back from freedom. But true freedom comes when we choose discipline over indulgence. When we allow our actions to be guided by wisdom rather than impulses, we experience a sense of freedom that is far greater than anything fleeting pleasures can offer. In Buddhism, the concept of discipline is deeply linked to the practice of sila, ethical conduct. This involves living in a way that avoids harm and brings benefit to oneself and others. It's not about perfection. It's about continuous effort to improve day by day. Each small act of discipline strengthens the foundation of your character and moves you closer to your best self. A disciplined mind is not a mind that is forced into submission. It is a mind that has learned the power of stillness and focus. When your mind is disciplined, it is calm and clear, able to see situations with clarity and make decisions that align with your true desires. This kind of discipline is rooted in mindfulness. It is about observing your thoughts without judgment and choosing which ones you will act upon. With mindfulness, the distractions of the world become less powerful. You become aware of when your mind is wandering and gently bring it back to the task at hand. One of the greatest challenges we face in mastering discipline is the temptation to procrastinate. How many times have you told yourself, "I'll start tomorrow," only to find tomorrow filled with the same excuses? The secret to overcoming procrastination is to understand that every small step you take is progress, no matter how insignificant it may seem. The key is to begin. Once you begin, the momentum will carry you forward. Discipline is not about waiting for the perfect moment to start. It's about starting and finding perfection in each moment. In Buddhism, we are encouraged to be diligent in our practice, which means to keep going even when we feel discouraged. There will be days when discipline feels difficult, when the pull of distraction is too strong. But it is in those moments that discipline becomes most important. The challenge is not in the easy days, but in the moments of resistance. When we keep going in the face of difficulty, we build resilience. And it is through resilience that we become the person we were always meant to be. Mastering discipline also involves understanding your limits. It is not about forcing yourself into an unbreakable routine, but about finding a rhythm that suits you. Sometimes, the most disciplined act you can do is to rest, to pause, and take care of your well-being. True discipline respects the body and mind's needs, allowing you to recharge so that you can continue your journey with renewed strength. It is not a constant push against the current, but a wise navigation through life's flow. There is also the concept of moderation in Buddhism, which teaches us to avoid extremes. Discipline does not mean being excessively rigid or strict. Instead, it invites us to find balance. It is about knowing when to work and when to rest, when to act and when to reflect. By practicing moderation, we create harmony in our lives, reducing stress and increasing joy. Another key aspect of discipline is developing the ability to focus. In a world filled with distractions, focusing on one task at a time can be a challenge. But focus is essential for growth. If we divide our attention among too many things, we lose our ability to deeply connect with any of them. When we give our full attention to something, we bring all of our energy to it, creating a powerful effect. This is why focus is such a critical component of discipline. It allows us to channel our energy into meaningful actions. This discipline extends to our relationships as well. To be disciplined in your interactions means to approach others with kindness, patience, and understanding. It means choosing thoughtful responses over impulsive reactions, listening deeply rather than interrupting, and showing empathy even when it is difficult. The more disciplined you are in your relationships, the more harmonious and fulfilling they become. While discipline may seem difficult at first, over time it becomes a natural part of who you are. Just as a tree grows stronger with each passing season, your discipline grows stronger with each act of mindfulness, each choice to follow through, and each moment you decide to act with intention. The more disciplined you become, the easier it is to stay on the path of personal growth, and the closer you come to your highest potential. It's important to remember that discipline is not about self-punishment or guilt. It is not a reflection of your failures, but a way to honor your potential. You are practicing discipline because you believe in your own growth, because you see the possibilities for a better life, and you want to bring those possibilities into being. As you continue on this journey of mastering discipline, be kind to yourself. Celebrate your small victories and learn from your setbacks. Every step, no matter how small, is part of your progress. Remember, the river does not judge itself for the obstacles it encounters, it simply moves forward. Similarly, your discipline is not about perfection but about progress, one step at a time. Mastering discipline is a lifelong journey, but with each step you take, you are not only becoming more disciplined, you are becoming the best version of yourself. With this steady, focused approach to life, you will find that the obstacles in your path become stepping stones, the distractions become whispers, and your deepest desires become your lived reality. As you continue to walk this path, remember that discipline is not a burden, but a tool for creating the life you've always dreamed of. Let each action you take be intentional. Let each moment be an opportunity to practice discipline, and let the path to becoming your best self unfold before you with every step you take. The role of wisdom in self-transformation. To begin, let us understand what wisdom truly means. It is not about knowledge or intellectual mastery. Wisdom is a deeper understanding, an inner clarity that transcends mere information. It is the ability to see things as they are, free from the clouded judgments that often stem from our emotions, desires, and attachments. Imagine for a moment that you are holding a glass of water in your hand. When the water is still, you can see the bottom clearly. But if you shake it, the water becomes cloudy, and you cannot see clearly anymore. Our minds are much like that water. When we are clouded by stress, anger, or attachments, our vision becomes unclear. Wisdom, however, is the stillness that allows us to see things for what they truly are. The Buddha spoke of wisdom as the path to liberation. It is the understanding of the nature of life, the recognition of impermanence, suffering, and the interconnectedness of all things. When we realize that everything is in constant flux, that nothing lasts forever, we begin to understand the deeper truths of life. How does wisdom help in our journey of self-transformation? First, wisdom allows us to see where we are struggling. It helps us identify the areas of our life where we are stuck, where we are trapped by old habits or negative thought patterns. Without wisdom, we might continue to make the same mistakes over and over, unaware of the underlying causes. Wisdom also enables us to make better choices. When we are clear in our understanding, we are less likely to act out of impulse or emotion. We can step back, observe the situation, and respond with calm and clarity. This is the power of wisdom in action. But wisdom is not something that is gained overnight. It is a process, a gradual unfolding that takes time. The Buddha taught that wisdom grows through practice. It is cultivated through mindfulness, meditation, and reflection. As we deepen our practice, we begin to see life more clearly, and with this clarity comes the power to transform ourselves. In our everyday lives, wisdom manifests in many small ways. It is the ability to pause before reacting, to take a deep breath when we feel overwhelmed. It is the willingness to let go of things that no longer serve us, to release our attachments to the past and open ourselves to the present moment. Wisdom is not about being perfect, but about being mindful of our actions and choices. Consider a time in your life when you faced a difficult situation. Perhaps you were angry, frustrated, or confused. In that moment, did you act from a place of wisdom, or were you swept away by your emotions? It is easy to make decisions in haste, driven by the desire for immediate relief or gratification. However, wisdom encourages us to slow down, to step back, and to view the situation with a broader perspective. One of the key teachings in Buddhism is the Four Noble Truths, which offer profound wisdom for living a more peaceful and fulfilled life. The first truth is the recognition that suffering exists. This may seem obvious, but many of us spend our lives avoiding this truth, trying to escape or deny the reality of suffering. Wisdom, however, invites us to face it directly, to understand its causes, and to see that it is a natural part of the human experience. The second truth reveals the cause of suffering, craving, and attachment. We suffer because we desire things that are fleeting, whether it be material possessions, approval from others, or even our own emotions. When we become attached to these things, we set ourselves up for disappointment. Wisdom teaches us that true peace comes from letting go of these attachments and finding contentment within ourselves. The third truth offers hope. It is possible to end suffering. By understanding the causes of our suffering, we can free ourselves from them. The fourth truth shows us the path to liberation, the Noble Eightfold Path, which is a practical guide for living a life of wisdom, ethical conduct, and mental discipline. This path is not something we follow once and forget. It is a lifelong journey of growth and transformation. In the journey of self-transformation, wisdom is our guiding light. It helps us see the true nature of our thoughts, emotions, and actions. It teaches us to be aware of our habits and patterns, and it shows us how to change them. Without wisdom, we are like a ship lost in a storm, tossed about by the winds of our desires and fears. With wisdom, we find our way to calm waters, where we can navigate life with grace and ease. To cultivate wisdom, we must practice mindfulness. This means being fully present in each moment, paying attention to our thoughts and feelings without judgment. It means observing ourselves as we are, without trying to change or fix anything. This simple practice helps us develop a deeper awareness of our inner world, and with this awareness, we can begin to make wiser choices. Another important practice in cultivating wisdom is meditation. Meditation allows us to quiet the mind, to let go of distractions, and to connect with our true nature. It is in the stillness of meditation that we can gain insight into the nature of our thoughts and emotions. Over time, this practice helps us develop a deep sense of clarity and understanding, which can be applied to every aspect of our lives. As we continue on the path of self-transformation, we must remember that wisdom is not a destination, but a journey. It is a process of continual growth, a constant unfolding of deeper understanding. Just as a seed grows into a tree, so too does our wisdom grow through practice and experience. The more we cultivate it, the more it becomes a natural part of who we are. One of the most powerful aspects of wisdom is its ability to transform our relationships. When we see others through the lens of wisdom, we no longer judge them based on our own fears and insecurities. Instead, we see them as they truly are, beings who are also struggling, growing, and seeking happiness. This understanding fosters compassion, patience, and kindness in our interactions with others. Wisdom also helps us navigate the challenges of life with greater ease. Whether we are facing a difficult decision, dealing with loss, or confronting fear, wisdom offers us the strength to face these challenges with calm and clarity. It is the inner compass that guides us through the storms of life, helping us to stay true to our values and to respond with integrity. As we reflect on the role of wisdom in self-transformation, we see that it is not a force that we control, but a quality that we nurture. It grows through mindfulness, meditation, and practice, and it unfolds naturally as we deepen our understanding of ourselves and the world around us. With wisdom, we can transform not only ourselves, but also the world we live in. In the end, wisdom is the key to unlocking our true potential. It is the light that guides us on our journey, the clarity that helps us see beyond our limitations, and the strength that empowers us to become the best version of ourselves. By cultivating wisdom, we step onto the path of self-transformation, and with each step, we move closer to the person we are meant to be. Embracing change and impermanence. In life, everything is constantly changing. The world around you, your body, your mind, nothing stays the same. And yet, how often do we try to hold on to things, wishing they would never change? We resist change because it feels uncertain, even scary. But, my friend, if you can learn to embrace change, you will discover a deep sense of peace that comes with accepting impermanence. Consider the seasons. In spring, the flowers bloom. In summer, they thrive. In autumn, they wither, and in winter, they rest. It is the natural order of things. Nothing in nature resists change. It moves with it, flows with it. If the flowers held on to their bloom, they would never have the chance to rest and grow again in the next season. Similarly, life is like this ever-changing cycle. It moves, it shifts, and every moment is an opportunity for new growth. In Buddhism, there is a teaching called anicca, which means impermanence. It tells us that all things are in a constant state of flux. From the smallest leaf to the greatest mountain, everything is changing. This might sound like something to fear, but in truth, it is something to be grateful for. Change brings opportunities, new beginnings, fresh perspectives, and the possibility to let go of what no longer serves us. When you hold on to something that has already changed, you are not only resisting reality, but you are also creating suffering for yourself. For example, perhaps there was a relationship that once brought you happiness, but over time, it has shifted. Maybe it no longer brings joy or peace. If you continue to hold on, trying to make it what it once was, you will only experience pain. To accept change means to let go of what no longer serves your growth, and that is where true peace lies. Now, let's think about change in your own life. Have you ever felt stuck in a situation, unwilling to change? Perhaps you hold on to old habits, outdated beliefs, or fears that keep you trapped in the past. Maybe you're afraid of letting go, afraid of what might happen if you do. But change, in its simplest form, is the opportunity to free yourself. It is the chance to leave behind what weighs you down and move toward a future filled with possibility. Consider a seed. At first, it is small, buried in the ground. But over time, it begins to grow, slowly pushing its way to the surface. The seed has no choice but to change, to transform, and in doing so, it becomes a beautiful flower, or perhaps a towering tree. This transformation isn't easy, but it is necessary for the seed to become its true self. You, too, must embrace your own transformation. The person you are now is not the person you are meant to be forever. Change is the key to your fullest expression, the key to becoming the best version of yourself. One of the greatest challenges we face is the fear of the unknown. We resist change because we cannot predict what will happen. But here's the truth. The future is always uncertain. The more you try to control it, the more anxious you will become. However, if you accept that uncertainty is a natural part of life, it will no longer be something to fear. Instead, it becomes an invitation to live more fully, to trust in the flow of life, and to let go of the need for control. When you understand impermanence, you begin to see that nothing is permanent, not even pain. If you are going through a difficult time, remember that this moment will pass. Life is not meant to stay in one place forever. If things are going well, enjoy the present moment, but also understand that it, too, will pass. The beauty of life lies in its fleeting moments. It's like watching the sunset. It is breathtaking, but it is gone before you know it. The impermanence of it makes it all the more precious. Buddhism teaches that the root of suffering is attachment. When you cling to things, people, possessions, even your own identity, you are tying yourself to something that is not fixed. These attachments create suffering because everything changes, and what you hold on to will eventually change as well. The key is to loosen your grip and learn to flow with life, like a river that moves effortlessly around rocks, never holding on to any single part of the journey. Life will take you where you need to go if you let it. Let's take a moment to reflect on your attachments. What are you holding on to in your life right now? Is it a memory, a relationship, a dream, or even a fear? These attachments are not bad in themselves, but when you cling to them, you block the flow of change. The path to freedom is in releasing these attachments, in allowing yourself to let go of what is no longer serving your growth. This doesn't mean abandoning what is meaningful, but rather, it's about being flexible with how you hold things. Hold your dreams with open hands, and they will have the freedom to grow into something even more beautiful than you can imagine. Hold your relationships with love, but not with possession. Hold your thoughts with awareness, but not with attachment. Another way to embrace change is to understand that everything you go through, every challenge, every hardship, is part of the process of becoming who you are meant to be. When faced with difficulty, we often ask, why me? But what if you shifted your perspective and asked, what can I learn from this? Every experience, whether good or bad, has the potential to teach you something valuable. When you embrace change, you embrace the lessons that life has to offer. It is important to remember that no change happens overnight. Just as the seed does not become a tree in one day, personal growth takes time. Be patient with yourself. Trust that every step, no matter how small, is leading you in the right direction. You are not rushing to an end goal. You are walking the path, and that is where the beauty lies. So, how can you begin to embrace change in your own life? Start small. Pay attention to the things that are changing around you and within you. When you notice something that no longer serves you, let it go. Release old habits, outdated thinking, and negative emotions. Allow yourself to transform, to grow, and to become the best version of yourself. Trust in the process, trust in the flow of life, and you will find peace in the ever-changing journey. Change may seem difficult at first, but it is the gateway to freedom. By letting go of what you cannot control, you create space for new possibilities. It is in this space that your true potential can emerge. Embrace change with open arms, and you will discover that everything you need to become your best self is already within you. Achieving harmony between mind and body. In the stillness of a quiet moment, ask yourself, are you at peace with your own body? Does your mind feel calm, clear, and balanced? Many of us live in a state of disconnection, where our minds and bodies are not in harmony. The mind is restless, and the body, though it may move, is often tired and stiff. But true peace, true harmony, begins when the mind and body work together as one. Imagine, for a moment, a tree swaying gently in the breeze. Its roots are firmly planted in the ground, and its branches move with the wind. The tree doesn't fight against the wind, it flows with it. In the same way, your mind and body must learn to move in harmony. When they work together, you experience true balance. You feel alive, present, and whole. To achieve harmony, it is essential to first cultivate mindfulness. Mindfulness means being fully aware of your thoughts, feelings, and sensations in the present moment. It means not allowing your mind to wander into worries about the past or the future. When you are mindful, your body also becomes more attuned to the present. You stop rushing, stop pushing, and start truly feeling your body's needs. In Buddhism, mindfulness is seen as the foundation for all practices. It is through mindfulness that we can begin to understand how the body and mind are deeply interconnected. One of the most powerful ways to practice mindfulness is through meditation. Meditation is a simple yet profound way to calm the mind and create a sense of peace in the body. When you meditate, you sit still, breathing deeply, observing your thoughts without judgment, and becoming aware of the sensations in your body. Over time, this practice trains the mind to let go of distractions, helping you to connect with your body more deeply. It's easy to overlook the connection between the mind and body. We often push our bodies too hard, ignoring its signals of discomfort or exhaustion. At the same time, our minds can be restless, filled with constant chatter and worry. But when we stop, take a deep breath, and pay attention, we can feel the connection. Your body tells you when it's tired, when it's in pain, or when it needs rest. Your mind tells you when it's stressed, anxious, or overwhelmed. The key is to listen and respond with kindness, not judgment. The first step towards harmony is awareness. Begin by paying attention to your breath. The simple act of breathing deeply and mindfully can bring you into a state of calm. As you breathe, notice how the air fills your lungs and how your body feels with each inhale and exhale. This simple practice of mindful breathing connects your mind to your body and helps bring them into alignment. Next, practice mindfulness in your daily activities. Whether you are walking, eating, or even washing dishes, be present in the moment. Notice the sensations in your body, the sounds around you, and the feelings that arise in your mind. This is the beginning of true harmony. The more you practice mindfulness in your daily life, the more your body and mind will naturally come into balance. Another essential practice for achieving harmony is movement. Our bodies were not meant to be sedentary for long periods. We need to move, stretch, and release tension. Practices such as yoga, tai chi, or simple stretching can help the body feel more alive and free. As you move, breathe deeply and with awareness. Notice how your body feels as it stretches and strengthens. Allow your mind to let go of distractions and focus solely on the sensations in your body. This creates a powerful connection between the mind and body, helping them to work together in harmony. In Buddhism, the concept of the middle way is essential. It is the path between extremes, the balance between indulgence and self-denial. In the same way, achieving harmony between the mind and body requires balance. You must find the middle way between pushing your body too hard and neglecting it. The same goes for the mind. You must learn to quiet the noise of overthinking and find peace in simplicity. Balance is not something that happens overnight. It takes time and practice, but with patience and consistency, you will begin to feel more in tune with your body and mind. True harmony is not about perfection. It is about being present with whatever is happening in the moment. There will be days when your body feels tired and your mind feels restless. There will be days when you feel balanced and at peace. Both experiences are valid. The key is to not judge yourself for where you are, but to simply be with what is. Acceptance is a powerful tool for achieving harmony. When you accept yourself, your body, and your mind as they are, you open the door to true peace. As you continue on this path of self-discovery, remember that your body and mind are your companions on this journey. They are always with you, always supporting you. It's easy to forget this, especially when life gets busy, but the more you nurture this connection, the more you will experience a sense of peace and wholeness. Treat your body with respect and kindness, and your mind with patience and understanding. In doing so, you will create a life of true harmony. Achieving balance between the mind and body also means letting go of the need for control. We often try to force things into place, whether it's our thoughts or our physical movements. But true harmony comes from surrender. It's about allowing life to unfold naturally without trying to control every aspect. When you stop fighting against your body's natural rhythms or your mind's wandering thoughts, you begin to flow with life instead of against it. Remember that every step you take towards mindfulness, towards listening to your body, is a step towards harmony. It may not always be easy, and there will be times when you feel out of balance, but this is part of the journey. Embrace the process and allow yourself to grow and evolve. With time, your mind and body will become more aligned, and you will feel a deep sense of peace that comes from within. True harmony is not about achieving perfection. It is about living with awareness and compassion towards yourself. As you cultivate mindfulness and care for your body, you will experience a profound shift, a sense of connection, balance, and peace that is always within you, waiting to be discovered. Reaching the pinnacle of self-actualization. As we reach the final step on our journey, it's important to reflect on everything we've learned so far. Becoming your best self is not a destination, but a continual unfolding process. The steps we've taken, the lessons we've embraced, and the wisdom we've gained have brought us closer to the most important realization. You already have everything you need to reach your highest potential. It may sound simple, but this truth can change your life. The very fact that you are here today, taking time to learn and grow, is a sign that you are already on the path. In Buddhism, we talk about the idea of Buddha nature, which is the inherent potential for enlightenment that exists within every being. You, too, have this potential. You don't need to become someone else or achieve anything externally to reach your best self. Instead, it's about recognizing and nurturing the wisdom, compassion, and inner peace that already reside in you. Let's take a moment to appreciate how far you've come. At the beginning of this journey, you may have felt uncertain, overwhelmed, or disconnected. Now, you've built a foundation of mindfulness, self-awareness, and inner strength. You've learned to let go of attachments, to embrace impermanence, and to cultivate compassion. And most importantly, you've realized that every step along the way has been a valuable part of your personal growth. One of the most profound lessons Buddhism teaches us is that enlightenment is not a state to be reached. It's not a point on the horizon that we chase forever. Instead, it's a state of being fully present, fully aware, and fully connected with the world around us. It's about waking up to the life that is unfolding right in front of us, without judgment, without expectations, and without resistance. You see, true self-actualization doesn't require external validation or achievements. It comes from within. It's about accepting yourself exactly as you are, while also striving to be better, kinder, and more mindful with each passing moment. This acceptance doesn't mean complacency. It means being at peace with the present, knowing that change and growth are a natural part of life. In Buddhism, there's a beautiful concept called the middle way. It teaches us to avoid extremes and find balance in all things. When it comes to self-actualization, this means not overburdening yourself with the pressure to be perfect or constantly chasing after external rewards. It's about finding balance between effort and ease, striving for growth while remaining content with who you are right now. As you move forward, remember that the journey to being your best self is ongoing. There will be times of difficulty, moments of doubt, and days when you feel like you've lost your way. But each of these moments is part of your path. They are not setbacks, but opportunities to deepen your understanding of yourself and the world. In Buddhism, we are taught that suffering is a part of life, but it is not something to be feared. Instead, it is a source of wisdom. Every challenge you face, every obstacle you encounter, is an invitation to grow and transform. The key is to keep moving forward with compassion for yourself. Even when you fall short, even when things don't go as planned, remember that you are exactly where you need to be. Self-actualization is not about being flawless. It's about being real, about embracing your humanity and your imperfections with love and understanding. So, how do you know when you've reached the pinnacle of self-actualization? The truth is, there is no clear finish line. It's not about achieving a specific goal or crossing off items on a checklist. Instead, it's about a deep sense of peace and contentment with who you are. It's about living with intention, being mindful of each moment, and approaching life with an open heart. You are already on the path. The fact that you've come this far means you've already begun to realize the wisdom and peace within you. Self-actualization is a process, not a final achievement. It's about continually becoming the best version of yourself, one step at a time. As you continue on this path, take a moment each day to check in with yourself. Are you still present? Are you still kind? Are you still open to learning and growing? These simple questions can guide you as you move forward. And as you continue your journey, remember that you are not alone. We are all walking this path together, supporting each other, learning from each other, and growing in our own unique ways. We are all part of the same interconnected web of life. Before we end, let me remind you of something important. The journey never truly ends. There will always be more to discover, more to learn, and more to experience. And as you embrace each moment with openness, compassion, and wisdom, you'll find that the path to being your best self becomes more and more clear. Thank you for joining me on this journey. I hope that these teachings have helped you reflect on your own life and given you the tools you need to continue your growth. Keep walking your path with courage, mindfulness, and love. There are so many views on this channel, but only 0.2% of people subscribe. So please, take a moment to like, comment, share, and subscribe to Wisdom Woven. Your support helps us continue to create more valuable content and share these transformative insights with others. May your path to the best version of yourself be filled with peace, joy, and wisdom. Keep walking the path, one step at a time, and remember that you are always enough just as you are.